What if I told you that in just 21 days, your entire relationship with money could shift profoundly and permanently? Not because you worked longer hours, not because you finally cracked some secret business code, but because you did the one thing most people never think to do. You went inward. You reprogrammed the part of you that's been quietly pushing wealth away all along, your subconscious mind. See, here's the truth most people never hear. You don't attract what you want. You attract what your subconscious mind believes you deserve. And for most people, that belief is rooted in lack of worth, lack of safety, lack of possibility. They've been taught that money is hard, that success requires sacrifice, that they're somehow not enough. But those beliefs are not facts, they're scripts. And the moment you decide to rewrite that script, everything begins to change. Starting today, everything you see in your external life is a mirror. Your income, your bank balance, the opportunities you attract or don't. They all reflect one thing, your inner programming. Not your intelligence, not your effort, your beliefs. Most of those beliefs were downloaded long before you were old enough to question them, handed down by family, culture, religion, school. Well-meaning voices saying things like, money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are selfish. You have to work hard for every penny. But it's not just the belief that's the problem. It's the identity those beliefs create. If your subconscious identity is rooted in struggle, it will find ways, subtle and powerful, to make sure your outer world reflects that. You'll self-sabotage. You'll overlook the opportunity. You'll feel uncomfortable with ease. Why? Because your inner world is loyal to the story it knows, even if that story is keeping you stuck. And that's exactly what this 21-day journey is about. Not just rewriting thoughts, but reshaping the identity that drives them. You're not here to think rich. You're here to become someone wealth naturally flows to. So why 21 days? Because transformation doesn't come from a single insight. It comes from consistent repetition that reshapes the neural architecture of your mind. Your current beliefs are like a deep, familiar groove, a well-worn path you walk without thinking. Every time you repeat that old story, I can't afford that. It's not for people like me. You deepen that path. But when you start feeding your subconscious new beliefs, aligned, expansive, abundant ones, you begin carving a new path. At first, it's uncomfortable, unnatural, easy to doubt. But day by day, with repetition and emotional intensity, that new path becomes the dominant one. And that's when the shift happens. This process isn't about positive thinking. It's about embodied reprogramming. Each day for 21 days, you'll show up differently. You'll speak differently. You'll feel differently. You'll start living from the version of you who already knows what it's like to receive, to overflow, to deserve. Because the subconscious doesn't speak logic, it speaks feeling. It responds to frequency. And when you shift your frequency, wealth can't help but respond. You've seen the mirror. Now it's time to rewrite the reflection. Let's begin the reprogramming. In the first few days, your only job is to observe. No forcing, no faking positivity, just awareness. As you move through your day, start noticing your inner dialogue around money. When you go to pay a bill, do you feel a subtle tightening in your chest? When you see someone wealthy, do you feel admiration or resentment? When an opportunity to invest in yourself arises, is your first instinct, I can't afford that? You don't need to judge these thoughts. You just need to catch them. Write them down. Keep a small journal or use the Notes app on your phone. Every time a scarcity-laced belief shows up, capture it. This isn't about fixing anything yet. It's about exposing the invisible script that's been quietly running your financial life. Once you start seeing the patterns, you begin to disarm them. You take their power away, Because the moment you become conscious of a belief, you're no longer unconsciously living from it. Now that you've cleared some space, it's time to plant. This is where most people jump in too soon, chanting affirmations without clearing the static. But now your soil is ready. Every morning for the next 21 days, as soon as you wake up, before you check your phone, before the noise of the world creeps in, you'll connect with the version of you who is already abundant. Sit somewhere quiet. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And ask yourself, if I already had everything I desired, if money was flowing freely, joyfully, endlessly into my life, how would I feel? Let that feeling rise in your body, even if just for a moment. Now, speak from that feeling, not to convince yourself, but to remember. Say the words slowly and with power. I am safe to receive. I am a magnet for wealth. I create value, and value returns to me multiplied. Repeat your version of that truth, again and again. Let your voice carry conviction. Your subconscious isn't listening to your words, it's listening to your certainty. And then carry that identity into your day. Here's where the shift becomes real. Over these 21 days, every decision becomes a training ground. You'll begin making choices, not as your past self, but as your wealthy self. Not the you who's trying to become rich, but the you who already is and is simply showing up in alignment. This doesn't mean reckless spending. It means choosing from a place of expansion, not fear. Maybe you decline an opportunity that's not aligned, even if it pays. Maybe you finally raise your prices. Maybe you invest in a course, a mentor, a book, something your future self would say yes to without hesitation. Every time you act from this new identity, you're reprogramming your nervous system. You're teaching it. It's safe to hold more. It's safe to receive. It's safe to grow. And little by little, you start to feel different in your body. More grounded, more worthy, more powerful. That's how you know the shift is working. You're not just reprogramming your thoughts, you're reprogramming your environment. We often underestimate how much our surroundings reinforce our beliefs. But if you're surrounded by lack, on your feed, in your conversations, in your consumption, you'll always feel like abundance is out of reach. So during this 21-day journey, become fiercely protective of your energy. Unfollow accounts that normalize hustle and fear. Mute voices that complain about money or glorify struggle. Even reduce time with people who, however well-meaning, keep you small. Instead, fill your space with expansion. Watch videos, read books, listen to voices that stretch your vision. Immerse yourself in abundance, not just as a concept, but as a frequency. Because what surrounds you shapes you, and what shapes you becomes your default. Finally, as the days unfold, you'll find yourself becoming more receptive, not just to money, but to life. You'll begin to notice small synchronicities, unexpected deposits, new clients, a kind word, a creative idea that leads to income. These aren't coincidences, they're confirmation. At night before you sleep, revisit your journal. This time not to clear or question, but to anchor. Write down 3 things you're grateful for today, not because it's trendy, but because it trains your mind to focus on what's working. Then add 1 thing you're grateful for before it arrives, something you desire, something that's coming. Feel it as if it's already yours, not in fantasy, but in certainty, because your subconscious doesn't know the difference between memory and imagination. It only knows what you feel, and the more you feel wealthy, the more wealth will feel safe to find you. This isn't a magic trick, it's inner engineering, and it works when you work it, not through force, but through consistency, not through pressure, but through presence, not by chasing wealth, but by becoming someone it naturally flows to. Day by day, you're not just changing your thoughts, you're becoming someone new. You're not just saying affirmations, you're remembering who you really are, a limitless, worthy, radiant being of abundance. The 21 days begin now, and so does your new reality.